Well, good afternoon, everyone. Great to see everybody here as we wrap up practice 6 of fall camp. I just want to start off by saying our thoughts and prayers are with President Linton right now, and hopefully they've caught it in time, and I know he's going through some treatments in the near future, and we're thinking of him with K-State football for sure, and obviously the entire K-State community. We're praying for you. We've got your back, Prez, so wishing you well. First 6 practices in the books, some really good things, a lot of install, so there's a lot of young guys that are probably swimming a little bit mentally. The older kids kind of pick up where they leave off from spring and their own stuff in the summer, so we're ahead of schedule with some of the older guys. Our install starts to slow down here in the next couple practices, and then we'll be able to hone in on a lot of the basic schemes and techniques, and try to get more guys understanding of what we're doing. But pleased with the energy. We talked last night in our team meeting. We're kind of catching a break right now with the weather. The last few days it's been really good, so we've had really good energy, really good competition, but adversity is going to come back on us here once that heat fires up, and we need it. We like it. Players may not, but the coaches do, to make sure that we're prepared for early season football. So we'll take any questions.
You kind of mentioned at Big 12 Media Days that one of the objectives of fall camp would be to address the secondary because you have some answers to make in the back end. How far along are you in that?
Well, it's a work in progress. I feel like we're making good progress. VJ Payne's a year older. That's really noticeable. Kobe Savage looks fresh, looks good, looks healthy and healed. Marquise Siegel would be the other safety that's doing a really nice job, and then we're rotating a lot of guys in there at that behind those guys, and 2 deep on top of those guys. So we're repping an awful lot of guys there at safety, and then at corner, I think Will Lee's taken another step just by being here in the spring. Jacob Parrish, you can tell his experience of playing last year. Keenan Garber's little bit of experience playing last year has really helped him. Justice James, a corner that was redshirted last year, a junior college kid, and then Jordan Wright. We're playing Jordan at a lot of different spots. We're just moving him around because he's a really good athlete. So we're gaining depth, but it's going to be ongoing through camp.
You mentioned a lot of young players probably swimming at this point in the development phase. Is there, a few kind of rising up above that water that? Just in the first 6 or 7 days, Joe Jackson as a running back has done some really nice things. Asa Newsom as a linebacker has done some really nice things. Jack Fabris as a safety has done some really nice things. We'll get an opportunity for those guys to go a little bit alive here, maybe later this week or first part of next week, and see if they can put everything together. But a lot of kids doing some really good things. But those 3 in particular, maybe getting a few more reps with some of the older guys. And finally, outside the box thought here with conference realignment. Do you put into any thought into your future non-conference scheduling, since a few of those were Arizona and Colorado?
Yeah, until somebody told me that, I didn't realize that. So it tells you what kind of thought I've put into it. Haven't talked to Jill or Gene. It's ever changing. It's good for us because we're in the midst of fall camp. So I know there's been a lot of things going on with conference realignment. I'll let Commissioner Yormark, who's done a phenomenal job of making the Big 12 really, really strong, let him handle that, and I'll try to work on fall camp. But I didn't realize that till somebody told me what our non-con was. So we'll see what we do. I don't think any of us will know probably till early winter.
Yeah, Coach, in that safety room, where do you turn for leadership, and how does Marcus Siegel fit into that, being a veteran guy but new to K-State?
Well, I think Kobe's the unquestioned leader in that group. Savage is, just because of the way he played and him practicing all the time now.
Siegel's a really good football player, and he played corner at his previous school. We brought him in here and moved him to safety. I think it was a little foreign to him in the spring, but that was why it was so valuable that he was here in the spring. Siegel could lead that group just as easily, and as some of that leadership is coming out as he's feeling more comfortable and not having to think about what he's doing. So I'm confident, and we'll challenge Siegel a little bit more to be one of those leaders back there.
And have you really decided on a usage for Jake Clifton and how he fits in that linebacker room?
I tell you, in the first 6 practices, he's played all 3 spots, and that's how versatile he is and how valuable he is to us as a team. He's played all 3, Sam, Mike, and Will, in the first 6 practices. Probably a little unfair to him to have to play all 3 spots, but he's taken it on. He's liked the challenge, and he knows that his versatility allows him to maybe be a starter at any of the 3 spots to the first guy that spells somebody. We're just very fortunate to have Clifton. As smart a football player as he is, the game really comes naturally to him, that he's able to help us in that regard and play in all 3.
And how does your offensive line rotation shape up as far as a number? Does it go to 8, 9? Where are you at right
Let's
now?
hope so. Let's really hope so. I believe it can. And a guy like Carver Willis, I think, is really developed a lot since having a lot of reps in the spring and now a decent amount of reps in the fall. Line Gang's done a really good job of gaining a lot of those extra reps. Sam Heck's done a phenomenal job gaining some of the extra reps. And then Taylor Poitier, TP, having him back and not being limited. TP can take whatever reps because he's healthy right now. I think it gives us a lot of options across the board. And then we've been able to move guys around. We haven't had to say you're only the backup left guard or you're only the starting left guard or center. People have been able to stay fluid and play a lot of spots.
Chris, we didn't see Christian Duffy participate in the practice the other day. How long do you think it'll take him to get back up to full speed?
I think Duff will be early into the season. I think we're holding him out from something that happened in the summer, but it's not long term, and we'll find out a little bit more probably in the next couple weeks about when his availability will be. We know it's not a long-term. We don't believe it's a long-term deal, but we're going to be really cautious. He's played a lot of football, and so we really need to be cautious with him.
That obviously opens up at least a hole on your offensive line there at tackle. Who's been rotating in there most? Who has been filling his spot?
Carver, for sure. John Pastore, Andrew Linegang. We could move Sam Hecht in, move TP in, move Beebs out. I mean, that's the thing that we've been fortunate on. We have a lot of versatility there to play, 7, 8, 9 guys and a handful of guys being able to play multiple spots.
At quarterback, I know Will's pretty solid, number 1. How's the competition been behind him?
It's been great. Really excited about where Jake has come in for starters. He's probably taking more reps right now just because it's early on, and really excited where Jake has come back, and the game's slowing down more and more for him because he's been here for a while. I think Avery's doing some really, really good things. He plays the game so fast. He knows he's still learning what we're doing schematically, and he's learning a lot from Will and Jake. But the one thing, when the ball snapped, Avery plays really, really fast. And so as he continues to learn our system and the defensive side of things slows down from him, we're going to continue to see quantum leaps from him. But make no mistake, when he tucks it away and runs, it's a different speed out there.
I also want to get your thoughts on the shape of the new Big 12. You've only been here for coming up on 5 years, but you've seen it at 10, 12, 14. Now it's going to be 16. But what do you think of what's happened here?
Yeah, I think we're strong right now. We had talked about when it happened a couple of years ago, where we weren't in a great spot when we lost OU in Texas. Then we were able to add the four schools. Commissioner Bowlesby was, and then being able to add these recent ones, I think is really good. It gives us a position of strength, a position of stability. I kind of knew that there was more in the works when, they kind of stopped and said, here's your 2023 schedule, and we're not moving on to 24, 25, because a lot of times a lot of that stuff, and we didn't. So I trust Commissioner Yormark. He's a lot better at that job than I would ever be, and I'm going to let him do his stuff. But I'm so thankful that he's in charge and doing a great job of strengthening the Big 12.
Looking at special teams, having to replace both kicker and punter with Ty leaving, who's kind of stepped forward in both those spots?
Well, we have a lot of people out there that we were very, very fortunate. One of the things that happened a week before, maybe less than a week before fall camp, like 4 days before fall camp, we were only supposed to be able to have 110 players into fall camp, and then they put a blanket waiver that allowed us to bring 120 guys into fall camp because we have about 124 on our roster, and that would have really hurt us. I'm glad that they made that change, but it allowed us to bring all those kickers and punters into camp for the most part. And so we didn't have to make a decision on, okay, we're going to bring in one kicker, one punter. We have a couple punters, couple kickers into camp. We're just starting to get into some more full group, full rep stuff. But I'm confident in Jack Bloomer from a punter standpoint of somebody that has punted in the Big 12. And then we've got some young kickers. Leighton Simmerine's one that comes to mind that I believe will challenge Chris Tennant as well. But we haven't really had a lot of opportunities of full go reps on things, so that'll probably be we'll get more answers for that in the next probably 10 days.
And then return game wise, obviously you get Phil back, which is nice, but as far as around him, who's kind of stepping forward?
Well, Seth can catch punts and kicks. Trayshawn Ward can. Keegan Johnson can. That's one of the things that we're going to be tasked with this fall camp, and we aren't close to the finish of it of who will potentially be that lead returner, who will be the off returner. Phil's an exceptional off returner, and so if he becomes a lead returner, who becomes the off returner? And if we want to keep Phil as the off returner, who becomes the lead returner? We're very, very infant stages of trying to figure that out right now, but we're giving a lot of guys looks. So we might try a few guys back there through the non-conference in both the lead returner and the off returner.
And then at media days, Uso is one of the big names from out on everyone's lips. How has he continued to progress this fall camp?
Done a really good job. Very strong, very explosive, in really good shape right now, understanding what we're doing defensively, so he's playing really fast. We like the depth we have behind him too. Damian Alalio's done a really good job. Javon Banks done a really good job. So we're probably deeper there right now because of the experience, especially that Damian got last year. So right now it's a position of depth and strength.
At running back, how are you splitting up the carries right now between Ward, Giddens, and so on? Any separation between the two?
I think BA's done a really good job of giving both guys a lot of touches, and we get enough reps that we're spreading those things pretty equally. I think the big thing for us is, and for Coach Anderson, is learning Trayshawn's skill set, what he does really well, because we had him in the spring, but he didn't practice very much. So we're trying to learn things that he does really well. We know what DJ does, but when you had Deuce there, I mean, that overshadowed everything. So we're trying to make sure that we see what DJ Giddens does really well, because DJ missed spring. So we're sharing all those reps. I mean, whether somebody goes with the ones one day or the twos. At running back right now, we have 3 or 4 guys up with the first group, and we're rotating a couple of guys. So there's really good competition back there.
At wide receiver, do you got a feel for the depth yet? Maybe a third guy starting to
we don't have a feel for the depth. It's great competition each day. Keegan Johnson has really been exceptional in spring, and it carried over to the fall. Phillip has always done a really good job, and we're excited to have him back. We're going to be smart with Phil. Seth's getting more and more reps. One of the guys that has made a ton of plays in the first 6 days is R.J. Garcia. And you guys saw little sparks of that last year behind some of those older guys, but RJ's learned what we're doing. The game is slowed down. Really appreciate RJ being an exceptional leader in that room too. Losing guys like Malik and Cade, somebody else had to step up to help Phil, and I think Seth's always done a good job, but RJ's been a tremendous leader over there. So I liked our depth. And then we have another 5 or 6 guys that I'll forget somebody if I try to mention one, but we have another 5 or 6 guys that are getting a lot of reps in that 3rd, 4th, 5th receiver.
How has Keegan Johnson been developing under Colin's scheming?
Really well. I mean, Keegan's exceptionally talented guy. Has a great feel for the game on how to get open. High points the ball. Uses his body well to catch the ball. He's a complete receiver. He has a chance to be really, really special.
How would you describe the leadership of this team?
Well, it's been really, really good, and the foundation was laid for a lot of those guys in 2021 by guys like Noah Johnson and Skyler, J-Mac, and then in 2022 it carried over with the guys like Eli, guys like Cade Warner, and so what the guys that have been out in front, the Wills, the Daniels, the Austin Moores, the Coops, learned so much from those guys that we're in a really good place with a number of leaders. For us to say, we're going to have 4 tremendous leaders, I think we've got 24 to 30 tremendous leaders. Our captain vote later on in fall camp will be really interesting because there's a lot of kids that I think will receive a bunch of votes, and that's a sign of pretty healthy leadership, is when you're going to have that many guys receive as many votes as they will. And I'm excited because it's on offense and defense, and it's at all 3 levels of both offensively and defense. It's not just the skill kids or the linemen. It's at all areas.
And Coach, I was curious if you could take us back to that first initial meeting with this group before everything got underway, and maybe some of the message that maybe you shared with the team.
We get these 21 days. That's what we get, in the fact of there's not any school going on. There's not a whole lot of rules other than you can't practice for more than 3 hours. We just get time with these guys, and so be invested these full 21 days. No regrets. You have these 21 days to come together as a football team and to get better every day in your craft. And you're going to have some trying times mentally and physically. Your body's going to be beat up. Your mind's going to be beat up a little bit. But make sure and realize that we're not getting this time back. And like I said, we've been fortunate because it's not been 95 degrees out there. We've had some really good days where guys will come off and they still have a pretty fresh mind. They got to get their bodies right, but they have had a pretty fresh mind. And when it's coming from within and the players are talking about it in meetings and making sure that guys are paying attention, guys are taking notes, guys are communicating something that happened in a film session, something that happened in a walkthrough. Just take advantage of these 21 days because you're never going to get them back, and all of a sudden school is going to start, and then it ramps up with game prep and school and all the other things that are going on in their life.
Final question. Do you see anything in this early stage from this group that maybe is different from previous groups?
It's probably too early to tell. When you have adversity, that's when you're going to find out. And we're in day 6. So, we had a hot day on day 1 or day 2, and we weren't even in shoulder pads. That wasn't really adversity. Let's see what happens and who rises to the top when adversity strikes.
Coach, what pathway led you to Chili Davis, and how has he transitioned here?
Coach Malone knew him, and we did interview a handful of guys, and loved Chili's passion. absolute passionate guy about special teams. And when we interviewed him, there was a lot of common terms that he had that I had, and my beliefs kind of matched his beliefs. And I thought it was interesting because Chili wanted to make sure he was going to a place where special teams was important. Well, it's easy to say special teams is important at K-State because of some of the success we have. But the other thing is the amount of time that our staff puts in on it, the amount of time and effort that I put in. I'm never going to miss a special teams meeting, ever. I'm always going to be involved in special teams. I'm going to help lead the punt with Coach Dewey. I'm going to help Coach Wyatt on kickoff. And he wanted to make sure that this place was all it was he had heard about of where special teams is really important, and he's had a great impact right now on us. He's come up with a couple of new wrinkles and schemes and techniques that all of us coaches are excited about, and he's got great energy and excited that he joined our family.
Has Sterling Lockett put on the kind of weight that he needs, and where's he at just right now?
Yeah, he's getting stronger. He's put on weight, but the biggest thing for him is continuing to get stronger and be able to be strong with his hands on contested catches. And I've seen a couple of those today or this last couple of days where it's been a 50-50 ball and he's gone and attacked it. And it's hard when you're a true freshman and you've not had a year with Coach True, and now you do, and you get stronger everywhere, not upper body, lower body, everywhere, as well as put a little bit of weight on. And the game's starting to slow down for him from a mental standpoint. Just the schemes and the length of our play calls and stuff. And Sterling's in that mix, in that 3 through 7 group of guys that we're excited once we get into some more, whether it's live or real competitive situations.
Can you break down what the center depth looks like?
Well, Gilly is the guy right now for sure. Sam Heck's done a really nice job continuing to improve. Hadley can play in there a little bit. And those three, Sam Shields can play in there as well. So we have really good depth in there. The great thing is whether or not it's Sam Heck, Sam Shields, Gilly, Hadley, we could move any of those other guys to play guard. And that's what we're excited about because we have that versatility inside.
How big do you see the rotation potentially being at defensive end this season?
Well, we've got to keep kids fresh. We've got to keep Duke fresh. We've got to keep Matlock. And if Nate's playing really high level right now, if Nate can stay healthy, I see a really big year out of him. And then Mott is playing. Those are the top 3. And then whether it's Stuff, whether it's one of the young players, we're going to be able to play a number of guys in there. Hopefully we can stay healthy.
Also, I know you've talked about this before, switching to the 3-3-5 defense, but it intrigues me now because so many Big 12 teams have done it.
Yeah.
Like it's almost 4, and now if you see a 4-team front,
Yeah.
Why do you think that looking back, why do you think that formation fits so well in this conference?
I'd say a lot of it is the RPO game, the run-pass option stuff for us. It's been not easier, but it just gives us some advantages in defending it. We probably have given up fewer big plays. We probably haven't made as many splash tackles for losses. There's some in there, but when there's only 3 down compared to 4 down, you're just not going to have as many TFLs and stuff. So it's been good for us as far as fitting our personnel right now, as well as keeping the ball in front of us. And we've been really successful of creating turnovers and getting off the field, and I'm excited as we continue to evolve. I mean, now we're in year 3, and I think Coach Klieman feels a lot better about knowing how to put the pieces into specific areas, whether it's dime, nickel, however it may be, to get the best people on the field.
Was the switch to do that originally? Was that your thought or Joe's thought? Or both?
It was my thought, and then I brought it to Joe. He and I had a real long conversation about it, and wanted to know his thoughts. And he'd always wanted to mess with it, tinker with it a little bit. But we learned quickly that we did both in that spring just to see how we liked it. And then the determining factor really was how much the players liked it, how simple we made it for them. And so then once we got to middle of fall camp in 2021. we were pretty much exclusive to it.
I don't know if you've been able to pay attention to any of the guys in the pros, but what have you seen out of, Deuce has been killing it at Cowboys camp, and Echo might have a shot at the
I haven't been able to see any of it because we've been kind of in our cocoon here, but I hear a lot of great things. Whether it's a player that's talked to one of our guys, I'm excited for the opportunities. We had a scout here from the Lions that said Adrian was getting a ton of reps and doing a great job. It's just that's how I'm going to get a lot of my information. It's because it's been great. We've had a lot of scouts in already in the first handful of days, but excited for all those guys as games start to happen for those guys this weekend.
What is the biggest improvement that you want to see from Will this season? What's the biggest thing you hope that he
I think it's totality. I think it's everything. He understands the game better and better. You can tell that whether it's mechanics in the pocket to decision making a little bit quicker to taking off and being confident running the ball. I mean, I think it's everything, and that's what I've seen in the first 6 practices. The kid's better at everything right now.
And then KT got named to, I think, the Outland watch list. How special has his progression been since you got here?
Has gone through a lot of adversity and has come out on the other side stronger. And one of our best leaders. I think he's a great football player, but he's one of our best leaders. And when he speaks up, kids listen. It's fun to see because that wasn't the young KT, but the old KT, the veteran guy, has been a blast to be around because he's a great player and an exceptional leader.